Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Power Within podcast. I'm your host, Laurie. Today, I want to jump right in and I want to talk about your word with yourself, with others, what goes on in the world. And I've really been giving this a lot of thought between two things. Episode 5, I had a guest on and he talked about how his word is his superpower. And I thought that was so cool. And then I saw a quote, recently that says, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do," by Jung. And I've really been journaling about this and thinking about this. And I really wanted to do an episode on this topic because I think that at the end of the day, I do agree with my guest that was on when he said his his superpower was his word, because it's what you are. It's rooted in integrity. It's respect for yourself. It's respect for others. And I've been really digging in on this, and I've been spending a lot of time journaling and going through list myself of, have I been doing everything that I've been saying I'm going to do with myself, with others? Am I, putting out there things that are true? Am I, sharing things that have value, that have truth, that I want to share with the world? And parts of myself that I want to share with the world. And one of the things, that has gotten me over the past year and really has me digging in on this topic is, realistically, if you take a look around the world that we live in, there is so much confusion and chaos and lying going on. You see it in politics, and you see it in media, and you see it in left versus right, and all this mayhem going on in the world. And I really sat back these past couple of years, and instead of listening to everybody else, I've gone, okay, what feels right to me and what doesn't feel right to me? And it's changed my whole perspective on how I view a lot of things in the world. I don't make judgments. I'm not here to judge other people. I'm just here to do the best that I can. And, I was having a session with my life coach, Lynette, a couple weeks ago. And we were talking about, the importance of nobility and humbleness. And nobility is essentially, being the best version of yourself that you can be and doing the best that you can every single day. And, being humble is not thinking that you're better than anyone else or being grateful. And, so her and I had this great conversation, and it really hit me in a great way. And I've learned so much from her. She has helped me transform my entire world into this, making sure that everything that I do is coming from a place of the greater good and honoring myself and being aligned and being in integrity. And I feel so wonderful about that. And that's why I thought that this was such a great topic to have. A lot of times, a lot of people will say, hey, I'll do this for you, or I'll do that for you. Or they even say to themselves, hey, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to do that, and they put it out there, but then they don't follow through. And it shows a lack of respect for yourself when you make empty promises. And it shows a lack of respect for other people, for their time, for, whatever. And this is something that's really been important to me, and I've really dug in. My guest that I had on episode 5, Graham, he had talked about this. And since he had talked about this is something I went through all my journals. And I think that this is something that's really important. If you're going to make promises to yourself or to other people, I think a great tool to keep yourself accountable is to have a journal or a notebook of some kind. And so if you say to yourself, hey, I'm going to do this, make a list of the things that you want to do. Make a list of the things that you're working on so that you can say, okay, I've done this, I've done that, this doesn't serve me, whatever it is. But it's really important to do this. And it's really important to do this when you make promises to other people as well, because you want to respect people's time and you don't want to overextend yourself. And if you are overextending yourself by making empty promises to other people and then not fulfilling your own things that you want to do as well, you basically show yourself and you show other people that your word has no weight, that you can't be trusted, and that you don't respect other people and you don't respect yourself. And this is something really important, because when you're coming from a place where you want to be in integrity, this is, I think, one of the most important things. For me, this has been one of the most important things. I pulled out my journals and I started going through them, and I was like, hey, I told myself I was going to do this, but I didn't do it. Or, hey, I told someone else I was going to do this and I still haven't done it. Now, I'm pretty good. Like, when I write down, hey, I'm going to do something for somebody else, I make sure that I follow through with those things. Because one, I've made myself accountable, and two, someone had asked me a favor, or I had, extended myself to that person. So I want to make sure that I follow through. I want to make sure that they know, hey, I'm dependable. This is something that I take very seriously, because I have to do this in my work, in my life, and so I want to start my own business. So I have to essentially, at some point, when my business grows and things like that, I'm going to have employees, and I want them to be able to trust me, and I want them to know when I say something, I mean it. And I want to make sure that my friends know, hey, if I said I was going to do something, I'm going to do it. And for myself, with my own journals, like if I say something, a lot of times, like to make myself accountable, I also will share things. I don't share them too soon though, because I think that there's power in keeping things to yourself until you are ready to share them with the world. And this is really, really important. And for me, at least. And this is something that I, recently I've started to share more, and I've been very closed and, keeping things to myself, but I'm like, oh, I'm going to, put some stuff out there. And I have, I'll share a couple little things, and how I've made myself, having realistic expectations. I had a couple years ago, I had told someone, I was like, when I started hiking, I've shared my hiking thing and how much I love that. I had told someone that one day I was going to hike Mount Washington in New Hampshire. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's one of the harder mountains on the Appalachian Trail in the United States. And it has the worst weather ever recorded by man in the United States. I don't know if that's in the world or in the United States. I can't remember, but it's a brutal, hard mountain, and it's a presidential range. And I knew I couldn't do it when I started hiking. No way. I had to work up to it. And so as I was going through my journaling recently, I was like, hey, I told someone I was going to hike that, and I still haven't done it. And I knew it was going to be a challenge. And boy, was it a challenge. But I had taken some time off of work recently, and I was like, you know what? I said I was going to do that. I've been working towards doing that. I'm going to go do it. And so I did. And I'm so glad that I did it. And I want to say, personally, for me, it was probably one of the most proudest accomplishments I've had in my life, to be able to do that so far. And I was so happy with myself. And I did post and let the person know that I did hike it, just because, even though they probably didn't even remember I said it, I was like, I said I was going to do it. I told that person I was going to do it. So I'm going to post and say I did it. So I did that. So that was me going, okay, check. I did that. So for myself, I have to set realistic expectations, but I go back and I check these things in the journal. Hey, have I given myself enough time to do this? Have I set realistic expectations? Do I have realistic goals? I have time frames that I want to give myself while I'm working on my small business. While I'm, I put out there recently that I have a goal to run the Boston Marathon in a couple years. And my goal was by the end of July that I was going to have run 1 mile. And I was really proud of myself because I work on that every day. And by, towards the end of July, it was a little bit before that, I actually ran a 5K, which I think is about 3 miles. And so I set lower expectations for myself because I didn't want to overdo it and then be like, okay, you can't do this, and then get frustrated and quit. And by also putting it out there so that other people knew, I was like, okay, this holds me accountable. And it also, not that I really need, I don't really need outside accountability. I'm very good with keeping myself accountable. But I know that some people struggle with that. So I wanted to say, put realistic expectations for yourself when you're marking down what you tell yourself you're going to do. Because if not, then you're going to get discouraged. So I think that that's really, really important. And I think something that inspired me when it comes to, talking about, other people and things like that. I'm really big into, I'm very careful with who I support. I'm not someone who is Hollywood. I love Hollywood. There's a handful of people that I will support. And I only do that because those people have shown me that they have integrity, that they are, I'm not saying that, other people don't, I'm going by personal experience, and I'm also going by, interactions and the way that I see people treat other people and the way that I've been treated. And realistically, there's really only 2 people that I've really dedicated a lot of support and time to. And both of those gentlemen have a lot of integrity, and they treat people with respect. And their words also have weight. And that was something really important to me, when I had both those guests come on. It was so important to me to have them on because I think that, they show the world, hey, when I say something, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. When I put something out there, my words have weight and they have accountability. And that's something that I've really respected, because even realistically, as all of us, we like movies, we like TV, we like this and that. In the real world, we're all just regular human beings. None of us are better than anybody else. But sometimes, there's that differentiating factor. And I think that we all get, when we're younger or whatever, we get caught up in that and and so for me, you have to look at things and go, okay, what aligns with me? What are these people putting out there? And over the last couple years, I've really weaned that down, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to only support the people that I do align with, the people that put out that quality information, that they stick to their beliefs. When they tell people they're going to do something, they do it. Because I think that there's a lot to be said about a person who will tell people that they'll do something and actually follow through. And that to me holds the biggest weight. I'm not an attention person. I don't, I'm very grateful, and sometimes I will express that a lot, and I'll be like, oh, thank you. But it's because I came from a place before where I wasn't grateful for a lot of things, and I had a lot of stuff I had to work through. And now I have so much gratitude, and I would rather be one of those people who expresses gratitude and people are like, oh, that's annoying, than to be someone who doesn't express gratitude anymore. So I'm very much that person who will put out and say, hey, thank you guys for doing this. Thank you for doing that. But I don't care about the attention and the likes and the, that respect of things anymore. As I've gotten older, I don't care about that. I am really someone who values respect. I value people who respect me. I value people who I respect. And I think that a lot of times in the world, we're not listening to each other and we're just talking over each other. And we'll say, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that, and we want to put on airs. I don't do that. I won't do that. And I'm someone who will ask a lot of questions. I try to remain respectful in the way that I talk to people and the way that I make promises. And this is something that I think is important because for me, I have looked at so many people who just they get so caught up in the moment and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And yeah, I'll do that for you. And and so you get all excited, and you're like, oh, great, awesome, and then that fleeting moment passes. And then you're like, oh, I don't really want to do it. And I think that there's something to be said for people who, even when they say something in a moment that they may not mean, they still follow through with that. And that's so important. That's so important. Because look at the world we live in. I mean, realistically, take a step back, take a deep breath, and just look at the world. Look at the world and look at what we see on TV. Look at what we see in politics. How, everyone feeds each other these empty promises and these lies and and we've gotten so accustomed to it that people are just like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. And it shouldn't be that way. It really shouldn't. Like, if we all told people that we were going to do something and followed through with that, I think that this world, like, people would really look at other people and respect them. I think that people would, have better reverence for other human beings and just appreciate and respect that. At the end of the day, we're all gonna make mistakes. We're all going to mess up. We're all gonna overextend ourselves. We're all gonna, disappoint somebody. And that's life. You can't be perfect all the time. And you will disappoint people. But I think that if we all took little steps, like journaling down, hey, I'm going to do this, or I told this person I was going to do this, and having respect for each other, having respect for other people's time, having respect for yourself, not overextending yourself, not trying to do things and then doing them, half-assed, When you say you're going to do something, show up and do it with a great attitude. Do it for yourself. Do it for others. Give back and just enjoy life. And we all have busy lives. We all get hung up in our own stuff and stuff comes up and, a lot of people understand that. But I think it's really important at the end of the day, especially when it comes to yourself, because if you keep telling yourself, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but you never take the steps to do those things, I think that you ultimately just kind of lose respect for yourself. You lose that kind of, integrity, and it's hard to get back when you're there. I mean, I remember I used to do it. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna go out and exercise, and I'm gonna, I'm not gonna eat this, and sure, I would do it for a week, and then I was like, oh, I'm tired, it's cold, it's hot, it's this, it's that, I'll get back to it at a later date. And what I found is that when I stopped doing it for the day, and then a day turned into two, and then I'm like, I'll get to it later. Like, I didn't care. I was like, whatever, Laurie, you know what? You said you'd do this before and you didn't do it, so who cares? And I got that attitude. And the last couple years, I have changed that completely. Like, I'm not saying that we can't all have days off, especially when you're making promises to yourself. Like, let's say it's a fitness goal. Everyone needs time off, and that's fine. But don't let those 1 days turn into 2, and then turns into a week, and then a month, and, make yourself accountable, and then plan and make plans. I think one of the great things to do, like I said, is take notes. Take notes for yourself, take notes for other people, stick them where you need to. If you have a journal and you're going to look at it every day. I'm big on journals. I can count 15 next to me. So I'm big on journals, and I will write everything down. So for me, I just open it up because I know which journals are which, and I'll say, okay, I know myself that I work 2 jobs. I'm working on a small business. I need to get out and exercise. I promised this person that. I promised that person that. I still got to eat. I still got to sleep, and I still got to have a social life. Okay, so where does everything fit in? And so for me, that's been, a lifesaver, because I pencil it in and I say, okay, I told this person I'll do this. I'm going to do it on this date. I'm going to do this for myself, and prioritize things. If you can't do something for yourself that you said you would do right away, write it out and say, okay, what can I bump, or what is priority? What do I have to handle right now? And don't sit and go, oh, well, I'm going to multitask and I'm going to do everything and not do anything right. It's great to multitask. It's great to have multiple projects, but you also want to follow through, and you want to do that. For me, that's been something really important, building this podcast, making time to do that, making time to try and reach out to people and record and do all that, and work my 2 jobs, and try to work on starting my small business, and then still get out and do all my stuff. And I'm like, what's priority? Well, I know I have to work. That's going to be a priority. For me, exercise and health, that's probably my next most important priority. So I'm going to make sure that I follow through with those, because that's investing in myself. Okay. And then I want to work on, things for my small business, and I have goals, and I have things that I'm working on for different things. So what part of my small business am I working on? But that's something I have time on. So I know, okay, I have a specific time frame I want to work on it. But that's where it's really important. Tell yourself what you're going to do and do it. Tell other people and follow through with that, because otherwise you just become, someone who just says they're going to do a lot and never follows through. And so that's really important. And I loved that, your word is your superpower. I've loved that. I think it's so incredible. And I think, what a way to think. And it was actually the first time I heard anyone say your word's your superpower. Maybe other people have said it, I don't know. But it was the first time I had heard it. And I was like, that right there, that is integrity. That is someone who respects himself. That is someone who respects other people. That is someone who respects his time and other people's time. And I was like, that's really awesome. And so that was something I've been working on for months now, like trying to really make that a focus since that interview that I had, and make those changes in my life. And I really have done it. And I spent time this summer, hiking mountains I said I was going to do, and, doing 5Ks and doing all the stuff that I was like, I said I would do it. I'm going to do it. And I want to do it. And it makes me so happy, all of the things. Just don't overextend yourself, because when you overextend yourself, then you start to people please, and then you don't enjoy what you're doing, and you don't enjoy, doing things for others. You don't enjoy doing things for yourself, because you're tired and you're burnt out, and you've promised this person this and that person that, and you just don't have enough time to do it all. So then when you show up for it, you show up and you're not giving them the best. I think it was Jay Shetty. He has a podcast too, and I follow him on Instagram. And there was a post that he had quite a while back, and he said it was essentially something along the lines of, make time for yourself, or, go by your energy flow. Because if you tell someone you're going to do something and you show up and you just don't give them your best energy, why bother? So he essentially talked about showing up. And if you're going to, even if you promise someone, I don't know, that you were going to do something, and you show up and you have 30 good minutes that you can give them of your best energy, show up and give them the 30 best minutes of your energy that you can, because you promised yourself in that way. And people will understand if you show up and you're like, I'm just not feeling this, I'm just not today. People are understanding. So, and I think that they respect that. So I loved that. I was like, that's really, really cool. So I thought that this was a great topic about integrity and keeping your word with yourself, keeping your word with others, doing the things that you say you're going to do, following through, planning, accommodating, and not people pleasing and overextending, having calendars and notes. And, I hope that any of that stuff helped you guys. And if it didn't, that's okay too. But I thought it was a good topic to maybe discuss with everyone. So that's all that I have for today. And I hope that you guys all have an amazing rest of the August. The end of the summer is approaching. So get out there, enjoy yourself, enjoy the time, enjoy the sun. I know in other parts of the world it's winter and kind of cold and chilly. Enjoy that too. It's great to have the different seasons, and it's amazing to wake up every day, have a new opportunity to, have endless possibilities of whatever you can do, whatever you want to do. Just do the things that make you happy, and that's all that I've got. All right. Thanks. Have a good one.